So, while all this is happening pertaining to AEW, and we're saying good things about AEW, not everybody has the nicest things to say. Former WWE superstar Lana, also known as CJ Perry, had some very, very interesting comments to say about All Elite Wrestling. The president and head of creative, Tony Khan, in an appearance on Busted Open Radio, she said the following: I have a lot of opinions about this. Tony Khan has a vision. At the end of the day, if it's 100% real, I think there's this illusion at AEW that the talent booked the show. That was different. That was definitely the conversation. Oh, you go there, you basically become whatever you're made of. But at the end of the day, he's booking the show. It's really no different than WWE. It's just a different director and a different person's point of view. It's like comparing NBC to HBO, but at the end of the day, you still have the exec who is going to make the final call, and that's what it is. Tony can have his favorites, and he's going to push the favorites just like Vince McMahon would push his favorites, just like Hunter is going to push his people. It's show business, it's nothing personal, and it's just what it is. So, do you believe? I wanted to ask this question. Number one, how did you feel about Lana's comment? And do you believe that Tony Khan plays favorites the same way that Vince McMahon or Triple H would?
Honestly, as much as she irritates me, I can't disagree with her points, and I also don't think that um what she had said should be like snubbed because she was not known for being a good wrestler, but she has been um heavily around and involved with like the entertainment industry,
Mhm.
like with movies and stuff like that, and being a performer and being a dancer and stuff like that. So I do feel like to a degree she does kind of know what she's talking about when it comes to entertainment. And this is something that I even noticed when I watched AEW and WWE, because I feel like we all kind of had that same thought that you go to AEW and you get to be all around your friends and you have control of your destiny, your character, your booking. You know what I mean? Everyone that
Yeah.
goes there is destined to have a greater and brighter future than what they got out of WWE. And she's kind of right, because I mean, a lot of the fallouts and a lot of the arguments we've been seeing and the drama going on backstage and stuff like that is a product of a lot of favoritism. Because certain faces are being pushed and still being kept around and are being, treated with a light slap on the wrist for
Right.
some things that they do as opposed to what other people do. And that all comes with favoritism. And it doesn't matter what wrestling company it is. We've
Mm.
seen this with multiple wrestling companies across the board, whether they're on TV, it's something you got to pay for a subscription to watch, or they're like, the lower tier indie shows or something. Like that is unfortunately show business. They're gonna push who they want to push. They're gonna keep around who they want to keep. And if you're just not it for them in the promoter's eyes or the owner's eyes, like that's unfortunately how it is. You do get snubbed. So
Mhm.
I don't think she said anything that was incorrect. And I feel like if you are going to say she said anything that was incorrect, it's probably because you just don't like Lana, which I don't like her either. But I mean, she hit the head on the nail because, like, look at the fuckery that's going on. Hell, since we're on here and we're on this topic, I find it really weird that, in regards of like the whole elite and punk situation, for their behaviors, yes, I understood it got to the extent of getting physical, but they got punished, and everyone is universally shaming both parties in that situation for not being professional. Throughout the whole entire week, I'm looking on the internet and I still see Thunder Rosa and Brit Baker still going at it, and I
Yep.
haven't quite seen like a legitimate punishment for that.
Right.
Thunder Rosa's over here supposed to be nursing a freaking injury, and Britt Baker, who's someone who is kind of the female equivalent of where the elite was. I mean, let's be honest. She's definitely someone that Tony favors. Um, and you can see that reflected in how long she's held the title, how she's interjected in every fucking female's feud, no matter who it is.
Right.
And what she's doing is not very professional. You would probably think she would think twice considering what had happened. That let's not pull more attention away from what goes on screen by throwing in bullshit and bringing up old shit. Especially again, if you were a champion, you should hold yourself still like a champion, whether you got the belt on ma or not. Like you're someone that Tony Khan brings around, like even off screen to media events and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
you're a doctor, for crying out loud. I would just think that she would just kind of hold herself with some type of prestige amount. And it's just irritating to me because it just seems like there's some weird double standard and it does come with the favoritism. And she probably does feel like she got a chip on her shoulder because she knows that Tony Khan likes her,
Mm.
like favors her. I'm not saying that there's some weird relationship going on, but I'm saying like that also plays a role with favoritism
Right.
because I'm pretty sure if someone else did that, again, they wouldn't get like a little whack on the wrist or nothing. They would be punished more heavily. So sorry, I went on a little side rant.
You're good.
By the way, both ladies are wrong for entertaining this shit. It's just I just find it weird where when this man picks and chooses when he wants to give punishments because again it falls underneath what she's saying. It's all favoritism.
Right.
What do
I
you think about that and that situation? So that's three questions in one.
so here's my thing about the Lana thing. I think that she's right. I don't have a problem with executives having favorites as long as the favorites make business sense. As long as your favorites are producing results. I think that when you start to prioritize your personal relationships over business, that's when it becomes toxic. To the point where it's like this guy is clearly not a draw. Why is he here? This girl is clearly not a draw. Why is she here? It's like, but if the girl is bringing in the top merch sales, if everybody is doing her chant, if everybody is coming to see her, if she's a top grossing talent or he's a top grossing talent, then to me, it's like there's no issue because it's like, okay, that's your favorite, but your favorite is bringing in results. And I think that that's what it's all comes down to at the end of the day. It's about being a draw. So I don't necessarily have a problem with people having favorites. Now, the funny thing about the Brit Baker thing is I have the exact quote, which I think this is she said this on the Swerve City podcast. That's the reason I was like on my phone when you was doing it because I was trying to look up the exact quote. So this is what she said on the
Go
Swerve
ahead.
City podcast, according to WrestleTalk.com. I'm putting this out there because I want to make sure that I get my sources correct. So Britt Baker said, and I think that Swerve was speaking to her about, you know, Baker making the point that she had not missed any televised appearances due to having injuries. So Britt said that I never missed any episodes of TV with like broken bone and injury. I'm just saying, what bone have I not broken at this point? My leg, my nose twice now, my wrist, the concussion, and I was at work every week because that is where I wanted to be. I had my nose surgery on Monday, Dynamite was on a Wednesday, and I was there cutting a promo because I wanted to be. Tony Khan is the most caring and wonderful guy, but I was like, this is an opportunity. I'm going to have a black eye. I'm sick in the head and thought I'm going to look cool. End of quote. And I think that she continued when she was talking about Rosa, and we're not gonna talk about that because it's off topic. But I think that the point that she was trying to make was like, Ayo, look, like Thunder is MIA and her excuses or like her reason is that she has an injury. But when I had an injury, I was on TV every week, which is an understandable complaint. But you got to understand that Britt Baker has strengths that Thunder Rosa does not have. Like, I don't know, being on a mic. You know what I'm saying? Like, she has other valuable things that she can do outside of her in ring work that would be of value to a program. So that if she were to show up for TV, like, she would definitely be on because she doesn't necessarily have to be wrestling. Um, but I do kind of see like your point as far as like the comment and how, you know, bringing that kind of topic back and kind of throwing that shade on someone who is the women's champion because Tony Storm is considered the interim women's champion at the moment. Thunder Rosa is the champion, and it's known that they have very well documented issues. Do I think it's professional? Unprofessional? Absolutely. Do I think that she should be receiving a punishment? I don't know. Because if you remember, Eddie Kingston had an interview and he was talking about Sammy and he was talking about the Bucks. And he was saying, oh, I don't like Sammy. I don't like Sammy. But he didn't get a punishment for it. It was only he when they actually got into like that backstage altercation where he like received a punishment for it. So I don't think that it's like a favorites thing as far as how punishments are being handed out. However, I do believe that Britt Baker is one of Tony Khan's favorites. Like, regardless of it all, I still think that Tony Khan favors her. So that's like a little bit like of my opinion on that. I don't have a problem with people having their favorites as long as it makes dollars. Like if bro is not a draw, if sis is not a draw, I don't care how much you like him, you need to pull him and develop them and make sure that they get better in the ring or on the mic. And as far as Britt Baker is concerned, is she one of Tony Khan's favorites? Absolutely. Um, I don't think that she is going to get punished because I don't think that really anybody has been punished for like a on-air remark like that. I think the only exception was when Sammy was on a podcast talking about the R word, but that's a completely different thing, you know what I'm saying? So, that's just like my opinions on the whole thing. So, yeah, I was gonna say, did you have anything else you wanted to say about that?
I mean, I completely agree that yeah, Britt Baker is like the better, not like in ring worker, but just overall what she has to give. Yes, it is valuable, and I do entirely agree with your point about how, yes, like a promoter is going to operate off of who's going to make me more money. If you're going to make me more money, then I'm going to put you on more because that just makes the most sense. Totally get
Mhm.
that. I just think that it's odd because again, the women's division is still, in my personal opinion, in shambles, and I just think that it's almost offensive to just sit here and watch that more of our attention has been placed in what goes on off screen with the women
Mhm.
than the stuff that goes on screen with the women. And it's just like if I was a female wrestler, and I understand Britt's at she's considered at the top of the food chain and stuff like that, so maybe she feels unbothered by it. I feel like it negatively impacts the rest of the division because it's just like people already kind of don't care to watch the woman as it is,
Right.
and I just feel like instead of saving all that energy and focusing on throwing shade at one person who's not on screen, she's not traveling with you guys, she's at home dealing with her herniated disc. Why can't we bring more positive to the division and actually like work on strengthening things and creating better storylines and putting other people over and stuff like that? I don't know. I just to me it doesn't help build the company.
Right.
I feel like it to me it's at least for like the women's division, the way that I look at it is that we watch the show week by week. I don't think anyone cares. I don't see really anyone tweeting or commenting much about the women. Um and it just comes off to me very selfish of her to be in her position to utilize her time knowing that yeah, she is interjected into everyone's feud and stuff like that, and is so far not really benefiting anyone. It's not really giving anyone much of a rub, and that no one seems to care for that because they're more invested in this beef that we should have forgotten about by now because this has
Mhm.
been ongoing for like what, 2 months. She could be investing that into something else. Like I just feel like a lot of the wrestlers in general should have learned from that media scrum situation to just leave their beefs like in private. If they want to run their mouths in private, by all means go run their mouths in private. But I just feel like getting on podcasts and getting on shows and putting down your coworkers, it's just so unnecessary for business. It
Mm.
makes them it's I understand Tony Khan's working really hard on trying to work out, the the individual beefs that are going on in the show, because adults do act like children, but I just feel like everyone's still off the hinges, and everyone should they are off the hinges, and I do feel like people should again had taken that experience and think to myself, all right, I don't want to do that next because I
Yeah.
watched how that badly hurt the company and how much harder my boss have to work to make the company look better. So I don't know. To me, like that, I just thought it was just disrespectful. Like not just directly towards Thunder Rosa, because she's entitled to feel that way towards her. It's just that why are you doing this publicly? Like what was the gain for it? Like
Mm.
what are you trying to get out and communicate to us
Right.
as fans by
And that
getting on Swerve Show? Sorry,
I said, "No, that makes
go
complete
ahead.
sense. Keep going." No, no, no.
No, it's just I know I'm going off on it for a long time. It's just that this when I sat there and looked at it, it's just like in her head, you could see the wheels turning that she felt like she won some competition. I'm like, you're not winning at the end of the day, even if you guys if you do have good points about
Mm.
how you did work with a bad injury and you have all these assets, because at the end of the day, you guys are a unit. Like you guys are a unit. You should be working and putting all your energy into like building up your unit. I feel like all you females should be banding together and trying to outdo the boys or try to get the boss's attention to try to get more screen time, better storylines, you know what I mean? Make the title seem more important. Like, why is your energy being displaced here? Is it because you know that you're set and you're ready to
Mm.
go, and that he already put all his eggs in one basket with you, so it's just like fuck everybody else, you know what I mean? I'm in the driver's seat. I'm good regardless, you know what I mean? Fuck these other bitches. That's just the vibe I get from her, and that's what irritates me. And then what also makes me think to myself is like, damn, this personality is with Adam Cole. I would love to know what's his take on this because she hasn't shut the fuck up yet. Like, does he just mind his own business and just go back into the gaming room, you know, and just like play on his computer and shit and just tune her out? Like, he's so humble. He's so humble, and he is definitely someone who cares for not only like, yes, getting himself booked correctly, sure, because he's like one of the greatest of all time, but like he loves putting over other people, and he loves doing what's best for business and best for wrestling. It's just so weird to see opposing personalities of someone so catty with someone that's so humble put together.
Mm.
Like, yeah, you haven't thought about sitting her down once and be like, you know, like, girl, I understand you feel this way, but like, y'all can handle this on the side. Like,
Mm.
take your position right now since you're basically me, right? Because Britt Baker is almost like the Adam Cole in the fucking division. Like, she is that it girl. She is the it girl the same way Adam Cole was the it guy in NXT. It's like, you have all this power. Use it for good. Use it for good. That's just what I gotta say about it. I'm sorry I've been going on a bad rant, and I'm trying to actually be nicer about it. 'Cause I was gonna be rude. I was. I plan on getting nasty on here. But I want to give a more objective point than I want to get more just a subjective.
Right.
So, do you have
I
anything
mean,
else you want to add, or should I conclude my rant on Britt Baker?
concluded because I don't got nothing else to say,
Okay.
honestly.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I mean, if you didn't have anything else to say, I think we can move on